3 reasons why small business owners contact us. Reason number 1, these folks have their act together with their small business. They're on top of their paperwork, their organization of documents, their organization of operations. They know all the information they need to know about. They have their act together. But they have hit an obstacle with some confusing aspect of the EIDL or Natural Disaster Loan Program. Second reason small business owners contact us, they're not that well organized with their paperwork, their operations, their information, any number of things, and they've run into an obstacle with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program for COVID-19 or the Natural Disaster Loan Program. And because of their confusing, poor organization of their documents or information, that has created the challenge while interacting with the SBA. And number 3, why small business owners, at least in 2024, have reached out to us, they're having problems making payments on the COVID-19 disaster loans they got during the pandemic. We've created all kinds of resources to assist each one of you in those categories and so much more in our EIDL Resource Hub, which you can purchase by clicking on the link in the description. And I'd encourage you to do it soon because I'm about to publish a massive amount of updates, which if you buy it now, you'll get those updates for free through December 31st, 2024. But if you don't buy it now, when I publish those updates, our price for the Resource Hub is going to increase substantially. So are you afraid of missing out? You should be, because if you fall into any of those categories that I just mentioned, you're going to need our assistance, and all of it in easy to understand step-by-step instructions is all in the Resource Hub, with chapters that cover everything from how to speak to an SBA agent on the phone, how to request hardship accommodation, how to set up your MySBA portal profile, how to manage paperwork with the SBA, but also my special templates that I created to help us be successful when we were doing consulting for our clients, and SBA forms that you can review before you fill them out after the SBA gives them to you so you can get them correctly, properly filled out. That increases your chance of success with the SBA program. And we're adding a private playlist of videos that only people who have purchased the Resource Hub will have access to. I've been rambling on, and a lot of the stuff is in my head as a loan officer, as a processor, as an underwriter, as an advocate for our small business client against the court of SBA administration and bureaucracy. And I may not be as specific as you need me to be, but I promise you in the Resource Hub, I have taken the time to consolidate every aspect of what you're going to need, whether you're doing a basic business operation, like you're changing your address, more complicated than you think it is with the SBA. Yeah, because we have clients who've done that, and we've seen how that didn't work out properly either, to accounting for the payments that you've made on your COVID loan since the first payments, because we're seeing that also. Watch for upcoming video or maybe videos about how principal and interest is not being properly applied on repayment. The client we're working with right now, who contracted with us as a consultant to manage a change of ownership. He's got a business partner, very small percentage of ownership, less than 20%, but he's removing him. And so therefore, he has to interact with the SBA for the COVID loan that we helped him to get during the pandemic. He had been declined due to quote unquote credit, but when I ran his credit, I didn't see there was anything bad about his credit at the time. And we resubmitted the reconsideration request during the pandemic, and we got him approved for a lot of money. A factory down in North Carolina, where thankfully in the recent hurricanes, his area was not badly impacted. His factory is up and running with minimal cleanup. So as part of the change of ownership, he needed to apply for the Hardship Accommodation Program to reduce his payments. It was a cash flow issue, and the timing was good to apply for it because this was before hurricane season and before these storms wreaked havoc on his business, temporarily, thankfully. We helped him out, and we prepared the paperwork. He submitted, and he was approved for hardship accommodation on April 14th, 2024. And last week, on a call with him, as we logged into the MySBA portal together and we looked at his file, lo and behold, what did I discover? The SBA screwed up his hardship, and they don't even have him in the hardship program on the MySBA portal. In fact, they have the status as delinquent. It doesn't say hardship accommodation. And I was like, wait a minute. So I went to the file, and sure enough, there's the letter that he received that I have a copy of from April 14th. You are approved for hardship accommodation. Crazy. These are the kinds of issues where you say you don't need us, but you do. Even if you have the money right now to pay the loan off in full. If you want to do it right, guess what? You need us, because it is not just looking at the MySBA portal where it says payoff amount. If you send that amount in, chances are pretty good you will have not paid off the full amount to account for the principal and interest plus what's called per diem interest until the day of receipt of the payment at U.S. Treasury at the SBA. So even if you have the money that you want to use that money and pay the loan off in full and get this off your back so you never have to deal with the SBA again, and you don't need us, and you don't need our information, you don't need our EIDL Resource Hub. No, go ahead, pay off the loan. You got the money, pay it off. Even something that simple, writing a check and sending it to the SBA. And by the way, if you call the SBA, chances are better than 9 out of 10 that you will be given wrong information on the phone by an SBA representative. As well-meaning as these folks are, as dedicated, as professional, as courteous as they are. I know they are. I speak to SBA agents all the time. I have spoken to thousands of SBA representatives. But you are better than 90% sure to get wrong information. We have seen this time and time and time again. In the Resource Hub, there's a whole section, including a private playlist of instructional videos just on communicating with the SBA, how to call the SBA, how to send an email to the SBA. You think that you're going to get a result by the firing off? Let me. I've seen the emails that you all send to the SBA. I'm telling you, as a retired loan officer and as the EIDL expert, having processed thousands of transactions with the SBA, y'all fail time and time again. I was on the phone the other day with natural disaster client, and we called the SBA together because I wanted to know why the SBA had declined his hardship accommodation request. I looked at the application he submitted. It was perfect. I looked at the profit and loss statement he submitted. It was perfect. It was exactly what SBA asked for on a hardship accommodation. Properly filled out application and a profit and loss, a current year-to-date profit and loss statement. Okay? So I was confused why he was declining, especially because this year in 2024, I have processed over 100 hardship accommodation applications with a 100% approval rate. So I was very confused. So he and I called the SBA together, and that's when I discovered that his file was in post-closing compliance and everything was on hold, okay? So by the way, this is yet another section of our resource hub that I have to update to teach you how to manage this aspect, because this is complicated and you have to understand it's an audit. So if you do it wrong, you're in a whole heap of trouble, like serious trouble. Go back and read your loan agreement. It tells you on the loan agreement the kind of trouble you can be in if you give the federal government wrong information. And the purpose of the audit is to compare what you send to the SBA today with what you gave to the SBA on your application in 2020, 2021 when you applied for the loan in the first place. They're cross-referencing that. They're looking at the tax transcript and so forth. So in any case, I'm on the phone and we found out that the reason why he was declined for hardship is because of this post-closing compliance. And we got off the call. And this small business owner, who is an otherwise smart, organized, well-prepared individual, very professional, said to me, "Wow, how did you do that? I could never talk on the phone like that to the SBA." And I thanked him. I was humbled by the very kind compliment. But even for something as simple as a phone call, you need us. And I've put a whole section into the SBA COVID guidebook, which I wrote 3.5 years ago, about how to speak to the SBA, how to call the SBA. Prepare for the call, plan for the call, make the call. Be polite on the call, but be firm. All of that, I've baked all that in. And I know y'all think, oh, just this guy Trevor doesn't know what he's talking about. Go ahead, try it. Try it on your own. Try the transaction like our client with the buyout did, with an SBA-approved lender who screwed up the subordination paperwork, screwed up change of ownership, requirements from the SBA to pay back $1 million. All of that and more. Every aspect of what you need to know about managing the COVID EIDL or applying for a natural disaster loan, it's all in our EIDL Resource Hub. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but I am trying to sell it to you because you need it. You say you don't need it, then stop calling us and asking us for help, because every day people are asking us for help. We get these notifications, these emails, these text messages, these phone calls on Saturdays and Sundays. We get live chats on our websites at 11:30 at night, our time. We're on the East Coast. So please don't insult our intelligence and tell us you don't need us. You're going to need it at some point, because you took out a loan from the federal government that kept your business open during the pandemic, that helped you to get through the pandemic, and you signed a loan agreement which comes with responsibilities and restrictions and requirements. So you absolutely do need us. And I've had people tell us time and again, I spoke to the other person, or I called this person, or I called a lawyer, or I called my CPA, And you and Linda Ray are the experts. But we're not offering consulting services anymore. No more phone calls, no more consulting. We're not doing it for a variety of reasons. And that's why we created the EIDL Resource Hub, because this loan is going to go on for many years for you. I'm not saying that means you will definitely have this loan for that full term, because maybe you'll find a way to pay it off sooner. Maybe you'll sell your business. Maybe you'll close your business. Maybe you'll file bankruptcy. We are not a charity. We do not work for the Small Business Administration. We do not work for the federal government. We are not a nonprofit organization out there giving this stuff away for free. We're a small business just like you. This is one of many reasons why we don't offer the consulting anymore. But we have the EIDL Resource Hub. Right now, the cost, and we get people telling us all the time, oh my God, why is it so much money? Because if you have not kept up with me on this video so far to see just how complicated, then please don't waste our time and look at the website. And don't click on the link, because when you see the price, if you don't understand what I've been talking about up to this point, you will never get it. Please go watch another YouTube channel and learn how to make the perfect French gravy for your steak. But don't click on the link, because you don't need us, but you do need us. And that's what the Resource Hub does. It's a flat fee. It includes the guidebook, which people have used our guidebook to manage their operations with the SBA, including getting approved for hardship accommodation. Need I show you, the feather boa, again, sent us to a company in San Francisco that provides feather boas and angel wings and so forth. Linda Ray just shouted they're in LA. I don't know why I thought they were in San Francisco. To Lady Gaga and Elton John and big mega stars like that. And they bought our guidebook before the Resource Hub existed. And they used our guidebook to get approved for the hardship accommodation program. And they sent us a message saying, you saved our business with the instructions. Trevor's instructions were easy to use. I followed exactly the instructions in the guidebook that Trevor wrote, and I got us approved. He needed us, and we were there. This is your last chance to get access to the Resource Hub at the current price. The current price includes free updates through December 31st, 2024. So that whole thing I mentioned about the new chapter, the new section on post-closing compliance, yeah. So if you buy it today, there is a section on preparing for an audit, which is a comprehensive chapter in the guidebook, but I'm going to enhance that chapter. It's a new development. That's why we provided free updates, because I knew that this program was going to keep evolving, and that people who put their faith in us, people who knew that they needed us and put up their money and they bought our guidebook, I wanted to honor that investment in our integrity, in our experience and knowledge and expertise by providing those folks with free updates. I don't know who does that. When I hand those updates to Linda Ray, who's in the next room, we're in our office, she's in the front room, in the library. When I hand those updates to Linda Ray and she begins publishing those, we will be increasing the price of the Resource Hub substantially, because it's not a guidebook anymore. It's like an online class. Those updates are coming. I promise you, Linda Ray's been yelling at me because she's like, you don't understand how much work goes into publishing these. Could you take a minute to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell and like the video? Because we discovered that 74% of small business owners who watch our videos are not subscribers. Maybe you get the information you need in one video, but when you subscribe, what you're helping us to do is expand our reach to the nearly 4 million small business owners who got pandemic financing, or to the other small business owners out there in the world who have been impacted by natural disasters.